Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to my channel. My name is Tanya. For those of you who are new, welcome. And welcome back to all my returning Titans. You guys are so awesome, and I'm so glad that you're here for yet another upload with me. We're going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room in case you guys are not a subscriber yet of my channel. I did have surgery on my eye, so I have to wear this lovely eye patch for yet another week until October 31st, and then I get it taken off. Kind of ironic, huh? If you do appreciate today's case coverage, I really hope that you'll consider subscribing to my channel. It's free to do and it helps me grow. Also, while you're at it, click the bell icon. That way you're alerted to all my new content. I do post very regularly on YouTube, so you want to make sure you have the bell icon alerted so that you get alerted to all those new videos. We will be talking today about a true crime case about 22 miles outside of the town that I grew up in. This case first started in the early hours of April 22nd, 2016, and it takes place in Southeast Ohio in the Appalachian Mountains of a village called Piketon, Ohio. If you do not know the difference between like a village, a city, like a town, a village is pretty much where you have maybe like one stoplight or maybe one stop sign. That's pretty much it. Maybe one small grocery store and a gas station. I don't just give you the heads up. If you're from a bigger city, that's what a village is considered. This is where 8 members of one family were brutally executed inside their homes. Most of them were shot in their as they slept. Just a disclaimer, I may have to do some like code words here and there because YouTube and their guidelines. I don't want to get flagged. I'm a new channel. But I'm sure you guys know all about that. So I'm sure the code words, you guys will pick up on them very easily. So let's just move on. Sorry, guys. This is a picture of Piketon on the map. These are the victims and their names and their ages. Christopher Rhoden Sr., 40. Clarence Frankie Rhoden, 20. Dana Lynn Rhoden, 37. Gary Rhoden, 38. Hannah Mae Rhoden, 19. Hannah Gilly, 20. Kenneth Rhoden, 44. Christopher Rhoden, 16. Where I am from, there are a lot of families that will build what are kind of like compounds where like a whole family will live there. Sometimes generations of families will live there on these like lots of lands, these properties, and they'll be set up like their houses will be set up like sporadically throughout the land that they own. This picture will show you how the land is laid out. You'll see the houses are pretty close together, but they do have land between each home. In the early morning hours of April 22nd, 2016, Bobby Jo Manley found her brother-in-law, Christopher Rhoden Sr., and his cousin, Gary. They were both found with wounds made by they were found both with wounds in their heads sustained from a gun in Chris's trailer. And in another mobile home, they found the ex-wife of Chris Rhoden, Dana, and their 2 children, Hannah and Chris Rhoden Jr. And they were all found the same way as Chris Rhoden and Gary was found in the other trailer. Hannah's newborn baby was unharmed and asleep next to her. Thank God. Chris and Dana's son Frankie and his girlfriend Hannah Gilly were also found the same way as all the other members, and their newborn baby was laying next to them, covered in their blood. They also had a toddler in the home that was also unharmed. So basically, all of the adults, except for the 16-year-old minor child, were all, done away with, and the babies, the newborns, and the toddler was unharmed. An 8th victim named Kenneth Rhoden, he was found later on in his house down the road from the, and he sustained the same wound, and it was to his eye. So I can't imagine. Rumors quickly surfaced that a Mexican drug cartel could be involved in the slaying of the family. Because the family was involved, they were involved in growing and selling of marijuana. Come on. Mexican drug cartel, though, for marijuana. The family knew this wasn't true. The family that was still here and alive, they were saying that this is not true. They were pleading for anybody to help to find who had done this, to their family. 8 members of their whole family wiped out one night. It was insane, like insane. After the slaying of this family, Hannah Rhoden's newborn baby that was beside her when she passed away was given to the biological father, Edward Jake Wagner. So basically, this is how it all played out from there. Coming from a small town in Ohio, I want to say no offense to the people in Ohio, but I was on board actually with the whole Mexican drug cartel thing. That it could have been that. I wasn't aware of this family prior, so I thought if they were maybe growing marijuana, maybe they were doing other things that were more inclined to get them into trouble. So that's what I thought. Or I thought some sort of paid hit. This is based on how many people could be shot at the same time and unalived in the same night. It was carried out almost like military-like, like stealth-like. They went in the cover of darkness with these people sleeping in their beds. They came in with phone jammers so the victims couldn't even call out for help. They thought about this. They ambushed these people. Each trailer they went to as they slept, they crept in and they came in with homemade gun silencers even. Can you imagine how terrifying that would be? Because you would think that maybe you would hear the first or second, third shot. The houses are not that far apart, right? I don't think they are. So after months and then years of hard work and determination and determined officers, they were able to identify 4 suspects in the slaying of this whole family. It literally took years. The suspects were George Billy Wagner III, his wife Angela Wagner, their sons George Wagner IV, and their son Edward Jake Wagner. And yes, that's Jake Wagner, all right, the biological father of Hannah's newborn baby. You're never going to guess what this was all centered around. You may have already guessed it though. 8 murders, right? Unalivings. YouTube, don't get me. This was all centered around the custody of the baby, the newborn baby that was Hannah Rhoden's and Jake Wagner's. This family hacked into the Rhoden social media accounts to know what the family was discussing. They carefully followed them to and from work, home, school to know exactly when they would be home, when they would be sleeping, and when they would be most vulnerable. 5 years from the day of all of this happening, Edward Jake Wagner, he confessed to his part in the crimes, and he will have to testify against the other members of his beautiful, beautiful, fricked up family. And he's doing this because you guys guessed it, right? Did you guess why he's going ahead and turned state witness? So that the death penalty, right, will be taken off of the table for him. He literally confessed to unaliving 5 people in order to get this plea deal. Jake Wagner also stated that he and his family had bought a car specifically to use just for these crimes. A few months later, his mother, of course, Angela Wagner, followed suit. She must have known the cards were, getting stacked up against her. George Wagner IV is pleading out to not guilty, and he is saying that he didn't pull the trigger and he didn't hurt anybody, and it appears that his dad, George Billy Wagner III, is doing the same thing. I can't get a whole lot of information on Billy George, the dad, for some reason. I'm not really sure why. But this case is still ongoing, and it's still going through the court right now. You can actually even watch live videos of George Wagner IV being, taken into court and having his whole court cases all over YouTube. So if you want, we can always do a live and watch that together. Let me know in the comments, actually, if you want to do that. Just going to state the obvious here, but not sure if anyone gave George, Wagner IV the memo here. But if you're present, right, at a crime and a felony takes place, you're just as guilty as the person who committed the crime. Just so you know there, just giving you some legal advice. There were also a couple of the members of the family, of the Wagner family, that were charged with misdemeanor crimes, and they have to testify also against the rest of the family. This case will go to trial. It already is in Piketon, Ohio, which is crazy because I can't even believe that they could find a jury selection that wasn't tainted in that small of a town, but I guess they found an impartial jury. I don't know how that would work, but it is going to bring a ton of money into the city, that little small village, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. It is one of the poorest countries in the state. Just saying. Hey guys, editing Tanya here with Mia. I meant counties, not countries in Ohio. Sorry about that, guys. There are over 260 witnesses that will be called to testify in this case. With it being a village, I really don't know how they got 260 people that lived in that village to even have witnesses, but they do. So let's get this ball going, you know? They have ballistic shoe evidence. They have ballistic evidence. They have wiretaps they set up. Angela Wagner also confessed to buying her son's shoes from Walmart to use in the commission of this crime, just for this crime alone. So think about this for a second. You're sitting outside with your family, right? This whole family sat and talked and planned how they were going to harm and take out an entire other family because of a custody battle. Because of custody. Think about it. They went through their social media. They went through their everyday life. They planned and they executed with military precision. This is disgusting, really. I can't even believe the Wagner family. They knew that Hannah was not going to allow them to see this child, and they could not bully her like they had bullied people in the past for the same thing. And she said, and this is probably what got her hurt and unalived, her exact words, they'll have to me first. And look what they did. They are still on trial for this crime, and I didn't get into a lot of the details about the night of the crime, but if you would like for me to cover this case, I will be more than happy to do that for you all. Approximately 1 month ago, they took the jury around to the crime scenes. They literally have been frozen in time, these different crime scenes, because in the beginning, I don't know if you guys caught that right, they only had 7 victims at one crime scene, and then they had the 8th victim located at another crime scene. So at this point, 2 of the Wagners have pleaded guilty and the other 2 have pled not guilty. So that's where we're at, kind of like in the case as of today. Angela Wagner pled guilty to dozens of charges in exchange for 30 years, but will avoid the death penalty. She pled guilty to burglary, conspiracy, tampering with evidence, corruption, and multiple charges of firearms. But this did, like I said, take off the death penalty, unfortunately. Jake Wagner also pled guilty to 8 counts of unaliving, along with burglary, tampering with evidence, and firearm charges. This took the you-know-what penalty off the table, but he isn't leaving prison until the day he goes out in a pine box. Thank you, Lord. So the other 2 Wagners, George Wagner III and George Wagner IV, have both opted to go to trial, and they both pled not guilty in this case. So that's where we are at, actually, right as we stand. George Wagner IV is actually on trial right now. You can watch that live on YouTube. I've seen it streaming live, and I've been watching it live myself. So if you'd like to watch that, you can stream that right on YouTube. Also, I could do a live if you would like, and I can stream it from my computer, and we can watch it together and just kind of see the back end of how the court system works, especially coming from a smaller town. There is a lot of corruption in smaller towns, and I did hear a lot of corruption and stuff involving this case in particular, so I wouldn't mind deep diving a little bit more into this case for you guys. If that sounds like something you'd like, please drop that in the comments below. Thank you so much again for joining me for this today's case coverage. I do appreciate you guys so very much. If you have stayed to the end and you haven't yet subscribed, really, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing? Just subscribe, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon to be alerted to all new content. This bad boy will be off within the next week, so that's always good for me and for you, so you don't have to look at this and you can see my beautiful face again. But no, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys so much. If there's anything I missed in this and covering this case, I did kind of do it kind of quickly. Let me know also, drop that in the comments and let me know what you guys think. Love you guys so much, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye guys, much love.